Hello, my friends. We're back with season 2 of Cocoa Pods. It's happening. I'm happy to be back. The break was a bit too long. I moved to a new flat. It's taking me a while to settle in and sort of do the things that I want to be doing, but I'm doing them, which is the important thing. So we're back. Season 2. I thought, what a better way to restart the podcast with my original guest, the bestie, Ella Violetta, aka Reback. A great egg. She's basically just come back from traveling for a year, Southeast Asia and South Central America, with some great stories, with some good advice for the young ladies that want to do some traveling. And it was a good chat. It was nice. It was just nice to do podcasting again, man. I really do miss it. And I'm happy to be doing it again. A couple of housekeeping bits, because that's what people say on podcasts. I've been doing a newsletter, if you don't know about it. Kind of write about stuff that's on my mind, stuff that I think pushes me forward in a good direction in life, and I share it with people that want to read it. So if you're interested in that, you can either find it in the YouTube description or on my Instagram bio link thing. You'll find it. It should be pretty easy if you want it. But yeah, from now on I'll also be putting links to all the bits of content that I'm going to be doing, podcast, YouTube, etc., in the newsletter. So if you want to keep up with my life, if you think that's an interesting thing to keep up with, then do that. All right, let's get into it, mate. Welcome.
Bing bong, hello.
Back from the original guest, from the original podcast. We're back in Coco's new place, aka my place.
Which I'm kind of jealous of.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a place and I walked in here and I thought, this is it.
This is the one.
I
got lucky. It's lovely. Good vibes. It's taking me a while to sort of get into the rhythm of living by myself, but I like it, mate.
I like this red curtain.
Yeah.
I didn't see that last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Hides all my camera rubbish, mate. You know what I mean?
This feels weird.
Yeah. Well,
when was the last one that we did?
Well, the last one was the crazy one, the one end of an era in
With
my
Johnny.
No.
With Tim and everyone.
Everyone, yeah. That was crazy.
When was our one?
That's a good question. I don't actually know when we did it. It was a long time ago. Over maybe like a year and a half? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think more like a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah.
Aww.
Anyway, it's been some time. I'm trying to get back into the flow of things.
It's happening.
Yeah, restarting the sort of process of podcasting, because I realised, I miss it. It was a good one.
And you're good at it.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll let the viewers decide.
Let the people decide.
Yeah. Leave me a rating on Spotify. All right. So I brought you here for multiple reasons. Obviously, you just came back from an amazing traveling solo journey.
Yeah, man.
You started off in Southeast Asia. You did that.
Yeah.
And then you went to South America.
Yeah.
Before we sort of get into the details, can you just give me an overview of what you did? And we'll get into it.
Of just the route that I did.
Well, kind of what you did, just briefly, both places and how long you were there for.
So, April 2022, I went to Southeast Asia. I did the Philippines for just over a month, so 5 weeks. Then I did Vietnam for a month, and then I did Thailand for 6 weeks. It was fucking epic. And then I went home and I needed money, so I worked, and then I realised I'm not done travelling. So I thought, where the fuck am I going to go next? And I thought, okay, should I go back to Asia? I fell in love with the Philippines. I fell in love with it. So I thought, my heart says go back, but then my brain is like, you should see the other side of the world first. And then usually I go with my heart. So I flew to Nicaragua. From there I went to Costa Rica. Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico.
Mm.
Which is like, it's so crazy to say. And that was 5 months of traveling, like 5 months to the day, actually. And I didn't even plan that.
Nice.
13th of Jan to the 13th of June, which was fucking crazy. But the Asia trip was 3.5 months.
Crazy. Like 8.5 months of traveling. Oh, 4.5. Oh, 8.5.
Yeah, I kind of, when people ask me, like, how long have you been traveling, like, especially while I was away on this recent trip, I just said a year. I was like, a year with, like, a break in the middle.
Basically.
And everyone was like, yeah, same. Because when people say, oh, I've been traveling for, like, 3 years, they don't count that they've gone home for 6 months to see their family. So I was like, cool, I'm just going to say it feels like a year.
Yeah, it certainly does. All right. When you, well, the most interesting part I think about traveling is obviously the beauty of places, but it's the people, you know, like the culture differences. What would you say was like your first culture shock going to Asia? And then
all the countries I went to in Asia, they're kind of quite different from each other. So Philippines, the culture shock for me was like how nice everyone was, because I'm so used to growing up in a city and people don't say good morning, really. I mean, within your community, I guess you do. But the Filipino people, at least the ones I met, they're so funny, and everything is a joke. Everything is laughable, like, but not in a non-serious way, not in like life's a joke, whatever. Yeah. Everything has humor, and they make everything funny, which I was like, it was so inspiring because it means that they're like super friendly as well. Walking down the street, especially because I'm white, they all thought I was Korean. I don't know. I guess like they do get tourists there, of course. Like, a lot of people do, but because it's so fucking far away.
Yeah.
They assumed I was Korean. A lot of them thought I was this kid with some like K-pop singer. Don't know who. I was like, no. Sure. So I'm walking down the street and like people are coming up to me. Oh my God, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. You're so pretty. Oh my God, are you from Korea? No. I was like, no. Are you from America? No. And I told them I'm from the UK, and they thought I was crazy. Like, why are you here? Because I went to a few kind of like remote-ish.
Yeah. Just not as touristy.
Yeah, like more backpackery. Like it's an effort to get there. So there are backpackers there, but you wouldn't necessarily get like your mum and dad going there on holiday type thing. Yeah. Which was fucking cool. Everyone riding around on mopeds. Yeah. Mind blowing. No shoes with the mopeds. A pair of shorts, topless, no helmet. And there were like no accidents. I was in Asia for 3.5 months, and I did not see one accident with like local people. With foreigners, loads. Yeah. But they just ride around on mopeds, and life is just so easy. And they just zip around, and there's not really many road rules, and that was amazing. Vietnam, the people are very quiet. You know, they're all about their work. They don't really look you in the eye. It's very polite. Thank you. No. And that was like polar opposite. They're very polite in the Philippines. They call you ma'am, sir.
In Vietnam or Philippines?
Philippines.
In Philippines.
But in Vietnam, with my experience, barely anyone spoke English.
Yeah.
Barely anyone. So I was like, the fuck am I doing? So I learned like super basic Vietnamese. Super basic. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Alphabet and everything as well.
Oh, dude, like the intonation as well is wild. But the food was the cleanest food I've ever eaten. Like, I was having pho every day. So pho is like, it's a Vietnamese kind of broth. You can have it with like beef, chicken, veggie, tofu, whatever. But it's essentially, if it's like chicken or beef, it's like bone broth, which is
delicious.
like a life elixir
It is,
for
yeah.
your
Bone
body,
broth
you
is
know,
great, yeah.
and for your skin, and like it was just amazing. And it's filled with like homemade rice noodles, chicken, which is obviously great. The bones are all in there, and just a shit ton of fresh herbs and bean sprouts. So I was eating that 3 times a day for a month, and it was just delicious. Like I felt so awake and alive, but I was full, you know. So the food was incredible. In Thailand, it's actually a reverse culture shock, I guess. I was surprised at how westernized Thailand is.
It's quite a spot for a lot of people go to Thailand.
That it's like a family destination as well. And what I was surprised at, like, again, just my experience, but how little Thai culture I was seeing. Apart from temples, the temples are unreal. And you know, they allow tourists in, and they're just fucking beautiful, and there's monks around you, and you just like not to be all like woo la la, but you see a monk and you're in a temple, and you feel peaceful. You feel very, very peaceful. And monks, they just get like the utmost respect, and you feel it. You feel like the presence of someone that is just like devoted, and you know,
that's what they do, and
that's their life.
Yeah.
You just think like, I was quite honoured. I was quite honoured to even see a monk. I was like, oh my god, it was so cool.
Yeah. I have heard about that about Thailand that there isn't much Thai culture. Like I remember watching an episode about how someone was basically opening like a traditional Thai restaurant in what's the capital of Thailand? Bangkok. In Bangkok, in like the center, in the city center, and how that was like actually kind of controversial because like a high end Thai, just how, you know, his grandparents cooked, and it was like a big thing because there basically wasn't any. It was all so westernized to like accommodate to all the rich Americans and whoever else went. That so what you're saying makes sense.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Thai food's incredible, but God, those grapes.
Yeah.
We had some grapes earlier, and they've made me so burpy.
Yeah.
Shit.
Gas sensation.
Wow. They'll have like the basic Thai menu. Obviously, they've got like burgers and fries and stuff if you want, but I thought the food in Thailand was pretty good. I also have like no reference. I have no reference. I eat pad Thai every day. And I know there's like so many other dishes, but during my time there, people introduced me to curries. Thai are the kings of curries, mate. They're unreal. I had something called a Massaman curry, and I think it's from Malaysia, not Thailand. But anyways, had a Massaman curry, and it's just this like coconutty kind of gorgeousness, incredible. But yeah, other than that,
yeah,
it was really cool. It was really cool to be there.
And then moving on to South America. Any culture
South
shocks
America.
there? America. But South
America. Any culture shocks there? Yeah. Dude. And you can't really compare it to Thailand or Asia or anything. Apart from the fact that most people ride on mopeds, again, less so than Southeast Asia. Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure because I was there for so long that I don't really remember what made me go like, what the fuck. Their love of food, especially in Mexico, they fucking love food, man. Everyone knows that. You walk down the street and it is like, not even stalls, just people on the street rocking up. Like, you couldn't do it here. You'd need a license. Rocking up with their like bike, and on the back of their bike, they're selling like fresh orange juice. They've got one of those old school presses and fresh orange juice, and then they've got all these other different drinks like rice drinks, horchata, and like all this other shit. So much food, and they just love it.
Mm.
The music was just beautiful.
Mm.
You hear it everywhere, and you don't really hear like you don't hear Mexican music here.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, I'm not gonna say. But the music was amazing. Seeing indigenous people
Yeah. Where?
was a culture not culture shock, but I was just like, again, just really felt quite honored. Mainly in Guatemala.
Yeah.
So Nicaragua is a very not that many tourists go there. It's not that touristy of a country. So it was very like, this is just a regular country. There's nothing like showy about it. It's, rough around the edges, I'd say. And I loved it. Guatemala, indigenous people everywhere, obviously, because it's their land. It's where they were born. But they were, not all of them, it depends on the tribes. There's lots of different tribes, thousands of different languages as well. Depending if you're like Mayan or if you're Aztec or if you're Inca, like it's so many. But in Guatemala, it's mainly Mayans. And they were like the women, they all have this like long black hair, usually in braids, these gorgeous tops with like embroidered flowers on it, really colourful, but the base is always black. And there was a certain in Mexico, actually, there was a certain town that I stayed in that has like one of the biggest and most influential indigenous communities. Like they have so much power that the police kind of
just don't mess with them, or
yeah. But that's taken years and years of fighting. There's like a whole big history about it. I think it's called no, I'm not gonna say it. It begins with a Z. Zapotecas, I think, is like the name of like the peace movement that went into that town. And I won't go into it because I don't know too much about it, but and they wear these, like, the women wear these skirts. They're black and they're furry, like from the waist all the way to the floor, fur, and I mean like fur. And I think they're made from wool, like sheep's wool or something, and it's sewn in a way so that it's kind of spiky and it looks like fur. It's crazy. And one of those skirts apparently cost $3,000. So indigenous people, they have money. I think I don't know. I definitely had the misconception that they didn't have that much money because a lot of them make their money selling like jewelry. So this was another culture shock. The amount of people that just walk around, like general people, just in their clothes, and they've got bracelets up and down their arms, and they're like walking up to you, oh, do you want a bracelet, want to buy a bracelet? And the women, the Mayan women, and even their daughters, walking around with piles of clothes, cocoa, like stacked up here, folded blankets for people to buy, stacked up here.
Just walking around
with like hangers, like hundreds of hangers with all these different clothes on it. Walking around the city, and they're like, oh, do you want to try? No.
It's crazy.
And it is
hot.
No, it's everywhere.
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Oh. Cocoa, it's everywhere. And like, I had no problem with it. I respect the hustle 100%. But they were all selling the same thing. All of them. And I'd walk down the street. Obviously, I stand out because I look foreign.
So they're all, trying to
they're
sell
all coming to me. Yeah, it's just like, okay, I get it. This is one of the things I got used to. I walk down a street, I get stopped about 10 times in maybe like a 5-minute walk. Okay. It's crazy. And they're all selling the same thing. Beautiful stuff, but that was wild. Yeah.
I mean, with the skirts, even though they cost $3,000, I'm guessing it probably is like a thing that maybe, in their tribes, like someone does that. So they probably don't pay $3,000 for it because someone, like, their auntie does it, or their grandma's like second best mate does it or something. But maybe they do. I don't know.
This is what again, like all these things are things that I've been told from memory from like 2 months ago. So it might be a little bit off, but I remember I did in that town. It's called San Cristobal de las Casas, which was the coolest place I went to in Mexico.
It's a long name to have for a town.
I know, they call it San Cristobal instead. And I went on a guided tour, like a guided free walking tour, which was just incredible. And the guy that ran the tour, he wasn't from San Cristobal, he was from Mexico City, but he moved to San Cristobal to help support the indigenous people and be a part of the Zapotecas, like the peace group.
Mm-hmm.
Again, don't know. And that's what he told me. He was like, yeah, that's why they wear that they all wear them, and it's like the fashionable thing to wear, and it's like you've got money, da da da. So it's like it's like a status thing.
It is like a status, like showing off.
Yeah, because I didn't understand, because like, no offense, they don't look expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like a cheap here. It looks like a cheap fabric you could buy of like 2 meters of fur and just wrap it around you. But like, I saw how they were made, and it's like,
it's intricate. Yeah.
Woo, yeah, it's crazy. So it was really beautiful, and I had the absolute pleasure of like getting to know a few indigenous people. It was just lovely.
Yeah.
It was just lovely.
What did you get out of speaking to them? Did you notice anything particularly different, or than the other locals?
They're a lot more in touch with, much more in touch with their roots and how their ancestors used to do things. So, for example, like natural medicine and like the power of herbs and plants and using plants as medicine. What herbs and things they put in their foods, and they just know how to like fix anything with what's in their garden, which is crazy. So they're a lot more in touch with that. They're very in touch with their energy as well, you know, because back in the day, like, you know, they used to have shamans. I mean, there are still shamans around, but it's a bit of a long story, but you know, they used to do a lot of like energy work and healing, and they're so much more in touch with that side of themselves, which is so beautiful. And I stayed with a Mayan woman in Guatemala for the night, and she really helped me practice my Spanish because she didn't speak any English. But yeah, I stayed with her overnight in her house, and you know, she lives up in the mountains in her little community, and it was just so nice to be with someone that's like not in the crazy city life, and she lives much more traditionally and ancestrally and
peacefully.
Yeah. It was. I mean, she told me her story. It was not peaceful. Tell you, she had a hard life, but they're much more in touch with
what you said. I mean, it makes complete sense that so much knowledge gets passed down from you know, from your roots. 100% from all the knowledge of the forest and the jungles, and how much, just like I was watching something about the Amazon forest and the indigenous people there, and it's exactly the same thing. They have so much knowledge on the local herbs and plants and trees and animals, and how all of that they use to like heal themselves. You know, a lot of stuff that modern medicine does, but in a more sort of, I guess, natural way.
And the importance of Mother Nature as well. You know, and just like being grounded. Like, I saw a thing today from this guy I follow, like how important it is to walk around with your shoes off on the grass, you know, and just things like that. And you know, the power of, I mean, a lot of the indigenous people were forced to become Catholic or Christian. Right. One of them, I think it's Catholic. So a lot of those like practices, when the Spanish invaded, they were forced to put those old practices on the side because they were like, oh, you're doing witchcraft and it's magic, black magic, and you're making potions and you're doing spells and you're singing with drums in your native language and calling upon spirits, and like, it's fucking weird, stop it, otherwise we'll kill you type thing. So a lot of the indigenous people were scared and forced into getting rid of, or like hiding, suppressing a lot of those practices. So when I did meet someone that was like willing to share, I was like, fucking brave.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of carnage went down, I'm sure, when the Spanish Inquisition happened, and like
it's really unfair.
Well, yeah,
a lot of people died.
Yeah, just like anywhere in the world when people trying to expand and put their power into other people.
Fuckers.
But hey, we're all part of it.
Yeah.
I guess another big one is like, obviously, traveling as a solo female. Going into it, I knew you were definitely nervous about South America. I know Southeast is a bit more easygoing, but like, what was your whole experience as that side of things? And yeah, something like that.
Asia. I did research before I went to both countries.
Yeah.
I read that Asia was safer, quote unquote, than South America, and that's definitely what I experienced. Definitely. Not that I experienced like any danger, because I didn't, but I was surprised at how safe I felt in Asia.
Yeah.
Like, people were nice. People were friendly, you know, especially in the Philippines, because everyone wanted to be my friend, which was great. So I made so many friends, and hopping in people's cars, and, you know, like going on bikes with people, and just, you make friends with people on the street and you go for dinner with them that night. It was like wild. And the men are very respectful because it's Asia. The men are super respectful. I think it's just part of their culture.
Yeah.
And then South America, I was super nervous to go because, again, I'd done research, and
you hear a lot more
I was
stories.
reading from people that I trust.
Yeah.
For the most part, but I always think the best person to trust is your own experience. So I knew I had to go. I knew it was going to be harder to get around because in Thailand you can rent a motorbike for £4 a day and take it wherever you want. And in like where I was, roughly in Central America, it's more like £20 a day. So I knew that that wasn't going to happen. So I knew I'd lose freedom, or I wouldn't have as much freedom as I had before. With that freedom, sometimes I was getting into situations where I was like, okay, I maybe shouldn't have done that, or maybe you shouldn't have ridden your bike to this like remote area on your own. But because I had the bike, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. So it gave me the sense of freedom that I loved. But Central America, you have to rely on public transport, which is fine. Makes things longer, more expensive. And the men in Nicaragua, for example, the rest of Central America, pretty fine. But I landed in Nicaragua, remember, okay, the least touristy of all the countries. And I arrived at my hotel in Grenada because I booked a hotel for the first 2 nights just because I was like, where the fuck am I right now? It's not like I landed in Mexico or Guatemala where people kind of go. I landed in Nicaragua. Like, not many people go there. And the guy in my hotel, he was lovely, but he was like, don't go outside at night on your own. And I was like, yeah. I just got here. I haven't eaten. I want to go and get food. Like, what? So he scared the shit out of me, and I was already unsure of where I was going and blah, blah, blah. So he really like instilled a lot of fear into me. And my taxi driver told me the same thing. I was like, fucking hell, what am I going to do? Like, I'm here for a month. Like, So I was, and I don't get scared of things like that. I think I'm pretty fearless. I do, if I want to do something, I do it, and I'm scared. But I was fucking scared in Nicaragua. So anyways, the next day comes, I'm walking down the street. I've got a video on my phone. It was non-stop catcalling. Hey, beep, beep. Hey, sexy baby. Hey, white baby. What you saying? White skin baby.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
And I was like, oh my. Wait, it didn't say.
First day.
First fucking day. And I'm from London, okay? Like, I grew up here. And I will say that I think times have changed, especially here. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm older. But I don't get catcalled anywhere near as much as I did maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, which is great. And I noticed that. I think now that we've moved into this like very like PC like
PC
society,
Yeah.
something good's come from it because I don't get fucking harassed. I can wear a tiny skirt. I don't get harassed. It's great. Not like I used to. Although I did get something around the corner where you said the car shop is, and you were like, oh, it was there. It was there. It happened.
There's certain cultures that PCness will never get to, and I think that car mechanics,
builders,
But, yeah. There's a reason. Probably good for them not to be PC to own. We want them to just be fucking.
Yeah, honestly, build my house in 3 weeks, please, with that energy you've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was different. I felt a lot less safe,
Exposed,
but not unsafe.
Yeah.
I'll say people were as much as the men were catcalling me in Nicaragua. People were so fucking friendly. Really friendly. I made some really good mates, like backpacker mates. But I'm on the bus. I'm on the public bus, and like people just want to like chat to me. They just want to know like
what's going on?
Who are you and what are you doing here and blah blah blah, and helping me get off the bus at the right point, and it's small things like that. I got on a bus, a really crowded bus, and it was fucking hot, and I was lost, and I was like I was nervous, and I was like, oh my god, fuck this day, I've got to be on this bus. It was those old American school buses. They use them in Nicaragua as their public buses. So they're made for children. And the people in Nicaragua, if you go from Mexico down Central America, they get taller and taller.
Really?
Yeah, so Nicaragua, the people were the tallest, and then Guatemala, they got really short. Costa Rica, they shot right up. And then Mexico, again, they go down. Guatemalans were the shortest. But people are tall on this bus. And, like, I had my backpack and my other bag. I'm trying to squeeze on the bus. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's so embarrassing. This guy literally grabs my backpack off my back, puts it on his lap. And because it's big. I met him here when he was sitting down. He held it for 3 hours.
Oh, that's very nice.
You know, and I was sat way at the back. Because he didn't even know if I'd gotten off or something, and he just held my bag, and I just. So yeah, and he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. So yeah, I was treated very nicely, but one thing I do suggest though, and I hate to say it because I don't want anyone to like live in fear, but you've got to be real. If you're a woman and you're a traveller and you're going out on your own at night, you're putting yourself at risk. You really don't have to do that. So I really got myself into the habit of being back in my hostel by the time it was dark. I'd push it to like 9 o'clock, but I wasn't going travelling to party. I wasn't drinking much because I don't know.
It gets more and more dangerous.
Yeah, I don't want to be drunk in a fucking place I don't know.
Yeah.
With my phone.
At night.
At night? No, not even here in London. I'd get in an Uber straight away. There's no Uber in fucking Nicaragua. And I did have one. I don't want to call it an attack, but I did have
interaction.
An attack of sorts happen. And I was I'll try and say it not too long, but It was one of the nights that I did end up going to a bar with some friends that I met, and we were dancing, having a great time. Got to like 12 and we were like, oh, let's go, because we were tired. So I was walking with my mate Alex, a man, and I thought,
Right.
at least I have someone with me. My hotel, because that's when I met my dad in Nicaragua, and I was staying in his hotel. My hotel was maybe a 6-minute walk away from the club. And Alex, the guy, was like, let me walk you to a hotel. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. But he insisted. I said, okay. Walking down the road now. And all of a sudden, these 5 motorbikes come driving past, like speeding. And they're all like yelling and yelping and woo, like madmen. And all of a sudden, they threw something at me and Alex. And I just felt this impact on my upper back right in the middle. Like that. And I smacked against the wall. And Alex, he got hit here in the face on his cheek. And he fell to the floor. And I'm like fucking hyperventilating because I've just been so winded I can't breathe. And I'm looking on the floor. I'm like, what? I thought that, like, I don't know, someone would come and punch me. Alex thought he got shot in the face because he's from El Salvador. And shootings like that just happen.
Yeah,
you
that is,
know?
especially nowadays. Yeah.
And he's got his hand over his face. He's like, nearly like fucking crying. He's like, how's my face? How's my face? And it was fine, but his lip was starting to swell, like, immediately. He was like, did I get shot? I was like, no, thank God. So it turns out, I looked on the ground. These people on the bikes, they had taken bags, like sandwich bag size, filled them with water, tied a knot in the top, and put them in the freezer. Taken them out, and they're frozen balls of ice. And I shit you not, Coco, each one was honestly like the size of your 2 fists put together. So they were riding around the fucking Grenada, lobbing them at people. Just for fun. And I thought, you could have at least robbed me, mate. You could have at least taken my bag. Don't just, like, hurt me and then leave me with nothing else.
Oh, my days.
So...
Mate, young men in groups is just riding around in the night is just not a good combination.
And it's just scary knowing that, like, you're doing that literally just to hurt people.
It's not really just to hurt people. It's more to, like, it's more the impressing your friends and, like, the whole. I don't really think they care about the hurting, unfortunately, or fortunately. It's more just the, like, the whole, like, status game you do play as a young man when you're sort of just like trying to one up each other, and it just gets quite out of hand quite quickly, especially in a place where I don't know what it's like out there.
There's not really that much to do.
Do you know what I mean? When there's not much to do, you kind of just make stuff to do, and sometimes that's lobbing ice balls at tourists.
No, I think you're right actually about the hurting people thing. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some fucking crazy people
Crazies out there.
Yeah, that do trying to hurt people. But that was pretty. I didn't know about that, actually. Yeah, it was crazy.
Your dad told me. Yeah, that was wild. I mean, that's the only, like,
and that was it. They just sped off, and that was it. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's the only kind of dodgy thing that happened to me. But after that, I was obviously scared. I was scared to go out, and I realized that this isn't part of my journey. Part of the reason I'm traveling is not because I want to go to parties. I'm very happy with the party scene here.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like being drunk or etc. with strangers. I don't like that.
It's a dangerous game.
I don't feel safe.
It's a dangerous game.
And I don't feel like I can, like, let loose and, like, be my drunk self. I can't do that. I was like, I realised so quickly, like, this is so not worth it, because I went to another party in Nicaragua, which was on this island. There's an island called Ometepe, paradise, which is in the middle of Lake Nicaragua.
It's just like...
It's an island in the middle of a lake that's in the middle of Nicaragua, which is fucking crazy.
I bet the water is, like, so warm.
Oh, yeah, and it's just fresh and gorgeous and stunning. So, me and my friend Nate, who I was traveling Nicaragua with, shout out Nate, by the way. We went to this party, and I met this other girl from the UK, and we were talking about music, and she's like, oh, there's gonna be like a drum and bass DJ at this party. And we were like, what? Oh my God. And we were like the only English girls. We were like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. So we agreed that we were gonna try and buy some goodies. And we knew it was going to be like fucking expensive. Anyway, so we end up having our goodies. And I'm like feeling great. I'm up, and fucking where's Nate? He's not around. My friend that I came to the party with. And I'm looking around, and I'm pinging, and I'm like and it was like a kind of like a beach party, like put together last minute type thing.
Bit rinky dink.
And I didn't fucking know anyone. I knew like certain people from my hostel, because there was like one big hostel that we all used to. And I'm like, I wanted to do this with my friend, and now he's gone, and I can't text him because like so there was no service and stuff on this island. And I'm like, cool, well now I'm going to have to make friends with people. But I didn't want to. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to make friends with strangers right now that I'm like feeling super vulnerable. And I know that like I don't have someone to go back to. Yeah. So I just decided like, no. I don't need to. I don't need to. So yeah, as a female, you have to just take precautions to not even allow yourself to find those dangerous situations, because they're everywhere.
I mean, 100% agree. Like if you're traveling and you're sort of in countries where, you know, safety and whatever is not really one of their specialities, is it's scary. I mean, it applies to women, but I think it also applies, to be honest, to anyone if you're traveling, like, because you know, as a female, you'll probably have a higher chance of like getting harassed, and then as a guy, I imagine you have like more of a chance of just getting into like random fights, just because especially in a lot of those places where people are more traditional. I think men tend to be like a lot more precious about women as well. So they get really jealous if like they see like a foreign man speaking to like a local woman, and that can get real. I know that's a fact. I know in the Balkans especially, it's like a big thing. It's like, really? It's like it can get fighty pretty quick. But I feel you. I think you did a really good job. It's just like. You have to be. You can't live in fucking La La Land when you're traveling in like these remote spots where you're so far away from home. You don't have anyone. You can't just be going out being fucking stupid, because you will get in trouble. Like one way or another, and then you're there. You're not there. Like you said, the party scene here is good enough. Like not even good enough is great. And then to go out and like Nicaragua on nights out just by yourself. And walking back at night, it's just not a good idea.
It's peak. There are like organised parties, so there were a few big parties in Nicaragua that I did miss out on. But like I said, I just
not you weren't there for that.
No, I wasn't, and also my travels was because I was like very fucking lost on who I was, and I was like, that's not who I want to be. I don't want to party. That's not what I need right now. You know, I love a party and I love, you know, but I like doing it with, like I said, I like doing it with my people, because to me that's bonding. It's something to do together, and I don't want to do it with people that, you know, I don't see the value in it other than doing it with people that I love. Some people, they love going out and just like meeting strangers, or they'll go out with like an acquaintance because, you know, they want to go out too. And I'm just like, nah, I'd rather save it. Now, I you know, I haven't always been like that, but I was just more on a journey of like, I need to figure out like who the fuck I am, like what I'm doing, and partying's not going to solve that. And I just had no desire for it.
Yeah. What do you think was your biggest outtake from traveling as a whole? What do you think you gained from it?
It solidified like one big fact that I learned when I went to Asia, which is that majority of human beings are fucking good people and are nice people, and we all want the same thing. We all want love, we want friendship, we want happiness, we want good food, we want music, we want to dance, like we want freedom. And that's it. And then anyone else who comes in, who comes into the world and is like a bit mean or grumpy or or malicious, it's all because something bad happened to them when they're a child, or something bad is happening to them currently. And so it just reminded me, like, you just got to give everyone mercy. Like, everyone that you meet, you have no idea what they've been through. It doesn't excuse it, but it gives it a reason, you know. And I just think you just need to give everyone like some mercy and give everyone like the benefit of the doubt, and like, you know. But I just realised, like, we all want the same thing. Language barriers, it doesn't matter. Like, I was communicating with people in the Philippines. There was a beautiful moment where I did do a 10-day guided tour
in the Philippines
as my first 10 days, because I'd never been traveling that far before and I was really nervous. It's another suggestion, actually, like, if you want to do a big trip, like, just join a guided tour for a few days even, you know.
To start it off.
Start it off and just introduce you, because I'd been to like Europe, I hadn't been to fucking Asia before. I'm very glad I did that. And I was like walking through this like beach town, and I saw a family were doing karaoke. They fucking love karaoke, by the way, in the Philippines. So I walked past this like shack, and there's a family in there having like a party. They have balloons and food and drinks, and they're singing karaoke. So I was just watching them, and I was like clapping, and they saw me and they were like, come. And I was like, no. And they literally like dragged me in there, and like the auntie was giving me food and drinks. You want rum? No. And only one of the guys that was there, it was his uncle's birthday, spoke a little bit of English, and I'm having these people coming up to me, hugging me, welcome. And I was like, I'd been in the Philippines for like 5 days, maybe 3.
Yeah.
And these people, they didn't even know me. I was just walking on the street.
Yeah.
And they were obsessed, and but not to the point where they were like being weird with me. They were just like
welcoming. They want to show you love.
You've got a good vibe. Come join us. Like, why not? And I was like, oh my God. And that was the most beautiful moment. And I was communicating with these aunties that they only spoke Tagalog and I only spoke English, and like eating the food and like wow, and like drinking and like cheersing and dancing together and hand gestures and things like that. And you don't fucking need words for that. And it was so lovely. That's the best thing about travel, man, is that you just realize that
most people are really
people are fucking nice. The world's not I'm not going to say, well, I was going to say the world's not so doom and gloom, but on that front of like, a lot of the world is very fucking shit. But when it comes to like the core of what it is to be a human being and the core values of human beings, I just realised, wow, humans are great.
No, I agree with you so much. Like, I think especially nowadays, like, if you spend too much time on social media, you're just like your view of people gets so distorted, and like I think it can have quite a detrimental effect of how how you interact with people, because it can make you like very cautious of everyone. You're like, oh, you're this kind of person, so I don't know if you're connected to this type of group or that type of belief. But rather just like, most people are actually like really nice. Like you said, most people want the same thing. Even if you have like very different political beliefs, that doesn't mean you can't get along.
Exactly.
You know? And I think that can be, it's something that in the Western society that we live in, is just it's hard to balance out, you know, especially if if you're trying to be part of the Western world. You know, you're on social media doing this and that, and trying to be, you know, somehow involved in society, but you end up spending so much time on social media where you see like the loudest of the tribe that argue, and you sort of your vision of what everyone's like gets distorted, because then you put all these people that are the loudest, and you associate their behaviors to everyone around you. And I do think that can be detrimental, because then there's interactions when you're traveling when people are super nice, and then you have those moments of like, people are actually nice.
And you don't need to 100% agree on everything. This is what I think is so dangerous about I'm sorry to generalize, but like America and Americans, because I also realize how like sucked into this like wormhole of Western thinking I'm in and surrounded by, but I know that like my immediate people, like my family and like you lot, my friends, we're much wider than that. You know, I think you've got like traditional Western thinking. You've got like the younger generation that's a bit like, let's back up, you know. But then attached to that, you've got this like weird kind of growth, of people that have just taken it way too fucking far.
It's like tumour.
This fucking tumour.
Western tumour.
Yeah, like where no one is allowed to do anything. No one's allowed to say anything. And why? Because that's what's right.
Because it's sacred.
Because that's the only way.
Yeah.
And it's, sorry, these fucking Americans, dude. Like, sorry, I will never forget. This video was like the pinnacle of, I'm so over listening to people yell about things on Instagram, and I really need to like unfollow these people and remove myself from it, because there are so many fucking other opinions and so many other truths out there, because I don't think there's one truth. So many other truths out there. You're listening to some girl who lives in New York City talking about the poverty of people in like Ghana, for example. I don't know. And I don't know, like you'd go to Ghana and like probably see a fucking different story, you know, than what she's telling you. And I remember there was this video. So this white American dude goes to like a university in New York, right? And it's like an interview type thing. And he's wearing a sombrero, like a stick-on black mustache, and a colourful poncho. And he goes to these students and he's like, do you think my outfit is offensive? And these are just like typical American students of all different races. And they're like, I think it's like cultural appropriation. I think it's like really bad and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes to like the Mexican part of town and asks like actual Mexicans like, oh yeah, man, like I think your outfit's sick. I love it. No. And he was like, case closed. And like video ends. And I was like, I don't know.
It's you know what it is? It's when people try and play the savior character, where they're just trying to protect everyone without people wanting to be protected sometimes.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's it. And it's like, we're fine.
Yeah.
With it.
It's like,
and people do that a lot in Instagram comments. Like, sometimes I see, there was a video of a girl, and she's white with blonde hair, and she's in, honestly looks like she's, where is she? I think she's in Congo. I think she's in Congo. She's in like a market and she's wearing like a normal top and then like an African print skirt, which is like colourful, like really cute. And she's dancing to an Afrobeat song. And she's in the middle of, I mean, the videos are like a little bit weird, I'm not going to lie, because she's just dancing in the middle of this market and people are kind of looking at her like, what are you doing? The comments are relentless, like calling her all these names, like, how dare you do this dance to our dance to our music, with your white skin and wearing our costumes, blah, blah, blah. I was like, do you know what? I'm choosing to procrastinate today. Let me have a look at this girl. Turns out she's fucking lived in Congo for like 10 years. And she's basically got a husband, a Congolese husband.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Because she's like Dutch? I don't know.
Yeah, I get you 100%. It's people just sometimes choose to be angry, man. People just identify with certain groups and then their identity is to be angry at stuff like that.
On the internet.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But again, I think it comes down to what I said earlier about that, playing that sort of savior character where you think you're let's say that you're thinking that you're doing something good, right? You sort of fool yourself that, yeah, I'm doing something good here, like I'm protecting these people, or I'm protecting this way of thinking or whatever, without
doing anything,
without really doing anything, or anyone asking for the help. And of course it's like people shouldn't ask for help, you should just help people, which I get 100%. You should definitely be kind to people, but there's definitely a difference. There's definitely a difference between that there's nuance. But
then does that mean that you should only fight the fights that are started by the people who are being oppressed?
Should you only fight the fights that are started by the people?
Don't
know, mate.
I don't know. No, like, is it only right to join like a movement? For example, like the indigenous people in North America, fighting for their land, and to keep their customs alive, and they're fighting for that. So
again, there's of course there's a lot of, it's never black and white. There's a lot of grey areas with these things. It's just and I don't. There's always going to be like these tumors, these Western tumors. That's the sort of form as a side effect to activism, let's say, because people. So a lot of people just want to, a lot of their identity is just connected to a community, and if the whole community, if the whole tribe decides to start supporting a movement, they'll just by proxy, just they'll become part of that support, without even really researching if what they're supporting is even the right thing. It's just because the community does it, and then cults form, basically, because then you stop questioning what you're even following, and then lo and behold, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. if you know the reference.
No,
you don't know the reference.
No.
Oh, it's really bad. It's drink the Kool-Aid is a saying from America, from this cult. Basically, this guy formed this super Christian cult, and he basically bought this part of it was actually somewhere in South America. It might have been like Nicaragua or something, and he flew like nearly 1,000 people out there, his followers. Started this cult, and then he basically they lived there for about 2 years, but then it started to get quite sticky, because like the CIA got involved because he was doing some dodgy shit. People like weren't allowed to leave, but he was such a charismatic guy, and he was so like overpowering the community. Everyone just trusted him fully, so he made everyone drink this Kool-Aid drink, but it was mass suicide.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Well, they all know they were committing suicide,
Oh.
but it was never called suicide. It was like, going to a better place or like living up to your full potential and stuff.
Oh
So-
my god! Did they know they were gonna die?
Yeah, they all knew. And what's even crazy is that
Oh.
there was even like 2 fake attempts leading up to it just to make sure that they'll do it. So he gave him a potion, but wasn't actually a potion. It was just like a. So they drank it like 2.
That's evil.
Yeah. So they've done it twice already, and I think on the 3rd time it was actually the poison.
Imagine the heartache those people go through where you've drunk this thing and you're like preparing for death 3
And the
times
kids, by the
over.
way, it's like loads of kids as well. So not only you're drinking, you're giving it to your kids as well.
Aw.
And you're like, right, well, just killed my kid, but then you're like, I'm not dying.
But I didn't.
Anyway, so that's where the drink the Kool-Aid.
Shit.
So yeah, people drink the Kool-Aid all the time, but not to a physical extent. It's more of a mental.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Anyway, travels, man, very good. I'm glad you did it. You needed it, definitely.
Yeah,
I think it was a journey that you had to go through. You had to deal with a lot of shit before.
Yeah.
And I think you dealt with it in a really respectful, mature way where I think it had a very good impact on you. I can see it in you as well, definitely.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can see it in you.
Thank
It's,
you.
I think it's like it was a very good stepping stone to sort of just like lead up to like more adult life, which we're both heading into now. Yeah, nearly 30, mate.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Now we have to start making more mature decisions and not going out on crazy nights out in foreign countries by yourself is part of that journey, I think.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot because when I came back from Asia, I knew I'm not done. I have this like disgusting itch to travel, and it's not done. And I also like when I was very happy before I went traveling. I'd done like a 1.5 years of fucking intense, crazy therapy. I'd sorted out all my relationships with my family and dug into my Pandora's boxes from the past, and I came out of it and I was like, I feel like a fucking new woman. I feel like a fresh slate. I feel good for the first time ever. Like, I felt good throughout my life, but I reached a new level of good, and I was like, no, this is it. Like, I thought that I was cool. I wasn't. This is it. So that was like phenomenal. I didn't know that existed. That level of peace. I didn't know that existed because I'd never felt that level of peace before. I'd always had to like worry about someone, So I reached this level of peace and I was like, cool. All right. Life's like starting new again. And it lined up so perfectly where I'd worked a shit ton. I was coming to the end of a contract at work and I had like all this free time and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go traveling. I've always wanted to. Like, what the fuck? The stars are aligned. So I booked it, had an amazing 3.5 months. And when I came back, I felt fucking awful. This is the thing that people don't tell you about. And I didn't really have any like basis to go off of because none of my friends had been on like a long travels like that. I didn't have any cousins. I didn't have any like older brothers or sisters or anyone that I knew had been on a long backpacking trip before. So I was kind of relying on like people on YouTube and and the thing that like I had no idea about was like when you come back, you're fucking depressed. And I was light depression, but I was fucking depressed, man. I was really sad, and you've seen literally the other side of the world, and you realize how big the world is and how many possibilities are out there, and like how many people are suffering, how much like you as just who you are could help people. It's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. And it kind of showed me that the way I felt the way I was living was very selfish in certain ways, because I'm trying to earn this money so that I can have my flat, my job, my this, my that. And I was like, okay, but what about like the greater good of the world? It's all very well you want to make money, it's all very well that you want to be successful, blah, 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 but like the world is not going to go anywhere without people like doing good shit, man. Like teachers, doctors, people that run community centres, volunteers, people that help old people, you know, just like helping fucking humanity, farmers, people that are, you know, the things that actually help the world. And I realised I want to do something important. I used to direct music videos. Cool. That's not important. It's not. And it can be, okay, like an artsy music video, it sends a message. I know that's not really I don't see that in my path, me doing stuff like that. I want to do something that matters, right? So I had this big fucking epiphany. And when I was in Thailand, I was learning how to dive. I was learning how to scuba dive, and I was like, this is the fucking life, mate. Like, diving, beach, friends, actual sun, you know, barefoot, barely any clothes on. This is literally how like humans were meant to live. That's how I was feeling. Obviously, aside from the fact that I make a London wage, I was making a London wage living in Thailand. You obviously live like a king. Why do you think everyone fucking moves to Bali? You know, but and that's a whole separate issue. That's you know, but on the fundamentally, like just as me as a human being, biologically, I was like, this feels fucking good. The sun, the sand, the wet sand, the sea, being active. I'm swimming, I'm surfing, I'm exploring, I'm seeing fish, I'm learning every day. Like this is what makes me feel good, right? And then I go home to London, and this was how I felt when I came back from Thailand. I feel differently now, but I just felt like I need to change my life. I need to make a difference somehow. So that obviously sent me into like a weird depression, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because you put a lot of pressure on yourself that way as well.
Oh,
quite
yeah.
paralyzing.
Oh yeah.
Paralyzing.
Yeah. And so I worked. I was lucky to get a big editing contract for 6 months, which was good, but it also meant that I had like a regular job, and I was kind of just wallowing in this weird like limbo of confusion of like, cool, I feel like I've reached a fork in the road now of my life, and like I don't want to go back to where I was. If I do, I've got to do it very fucking differently. Like, what do I do? And I wasn't in a state of like, what am I good at? It was completely the opposite. I'm good at so many things, and I'm passionate about so many things, but I want to commit. I'm ready to commit to like a life path, right? What the fuck is that life path? And no one can tell you. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to make moves, and you know, it was like very, very fucking stressful. I cried a lot, and that's when I was like, maybe like I need to go traveling again, you know. And I didn't know if it was the right decision. I knew I was running away, definitely, but I thought, hey, being here is doing me no good right now. So fuck it. I needed to go again. And on this set of travels I went longer with the intention of like staying there kind of permanently. In my mind I was like, I'm going to live in Mexico, you know, and work remotely and build an online business, you know, like all this thing. But luckily, like I kind of got the foundation that I actually could do that. I'll just be a fucking editor. I earn great money, live in Mexico. I went on a big journey, like mentally. What makes me happy? Who the fuck am I? I ended up like making a mind map. I withdrew a lot. I went through this journey of like, I was super fucking social the first month, and I made some amazing friends, and then I like dwindled. I went to Guatemala, and then I ended up like on this lake. I was living on this lake for like a few weeks, and my energy, I didn't have any. I had no energy. Like I made again some really lovely friends, but we were all kind of in the same boat of like, I need to journal. I need to do my yoga. I need to get in the cold lake in the morning. Cold. Go for a swim. Cold. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. No, like.
Get in the lake. Yeah,
get in that cold lake in the morning. We were all in this state of like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we doing? So I was in that for a really, really long time. I was very fucking confused. I still am. And, you know, I spoke to my family about it, and I was like, guys, I just don't know what I want. And then slowly, I was making this mind map of, like, I call my therapist kind of in an emergency. I was like, all I think about, I'm in the middle of Guatemala in the most beautiful lake in the world. All I can think about is, how the fuck are you going to make money when you get back to London? What are you going to do? How are you going to support yourself? How are you going to... you know, and that it was like eating me alive, Coco, like I swear to God. And I was like, I can't even fucking enjoy my meal without this stress, you know. So she said, like, make a mind map, draw yourself in the middle like a stick person, make a mind map, and every potential life path that you think could work for you, write it down. Doesn't matter how stupid it sounds, write it down. And then whenever you think of it again, like, oh yeah, I would like to be a painter. I would like to be a scuba instructor. Just like put a check mark next to it and just see like which things stay on your mind a bit more. And I did that, and I'm still doing that. I still have that mind map somewhere at home. And I had some realizations as well. And now that I'm back, I know kind of, I think I know what kind of like a broad future I see for myself. So that side is clearer, but then I still have these other things. Like, do I still want to be a director? Yeah, I can edit, and I know that it can pay my bills, but do I enjoy it? Not really. Do I go on autopilot when I edit? Yes. Do the days just fucking fly by? Yeah, they do, and that scares me. But then I get a paycheck at the end of it, so I'm still figuring it out. But it's been a fat journey, mate.
Yeah, it definitely has. But I think you've definitely done the right thing. Yeah, it's. I mean, we're in our 20s. We're sort of on the verge of like, you know, starting to have some real responsibilities, and I think, you know, now is the time to really do some self-exploring, and that's what you've done. Yeah, really good. I guess to finish it off, just more of I guess some advice. If you could summarize some advice for other young ladies that I think are doing some solo traveling after your 8.5 months.
Fucking hell.
What would you say?
I would say it's scary, but you will actually be fine, and everything will be fine. And you have to do it. Like if you have that in you, that you want to travel, you have to fucking do it. And you can wait. I suggest having money. I wouldn't suggest going away and you living on like a bare minimum budget. No, because that's going to be fucking miserable. And I've seen people do major budget traveling, and it is, you've got to be a certain type of person. If you feel like you can do it, cool. I know that I can't, right? So have some money behind you so that when you come back, you have a foundation. Do your research before you go. You can leave room to wing it, right, wherever you are, but have a rough plan of where you want to go, because otherwise you end up missing out on things. Things that you might need to book, certain experiences that will write on your doorstep that you didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of just be in the middle. Be the middleman in everything, you know. Don't be too wild, but don't be too strict. But yeah, just fucking do it. Like, if you've got the money,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard with the job and everything, but like, even if you can just get away for a weekend, if you can get away for a weekend and take yourself to like fucking, I don't know, Paris, you know, if you're scared of starting like solo travel, go somewhere really local, for the weekend. Go to the cinema by yourself. Here, wherever your hometown is, right? Or go for dinner by yourself. And then my first solo trip, I went to Amsterdam for a concert by myself, Chemical Brothers.
Mm.
Purely because none of my mates were free. And I was like, well, I'm not fucking missing Chemical Brothers. So I went on my own and I had a great time.
Mm.
And if you think people are going to think you're weird, it is the polar opposite. When people meet you and they see you're a solo traveller, the first thing they'll say to you is, oh my God, I wish I could do that. Oh my God, I wish I was like you. Oh my God, that's amazing. You know, so it is fucking scary. But there are so many solo travellers out there you don't even understand. You'll be in a hostel and they're fucking everywhere. And you make friends, you know. But yeah, just do it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah. And don't go out by yourself at night.
Too much, yeah. Do it within reason.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah.
If you're in Asia, if you're in Thailand, you'll be partying non-stop. And there, because it's a party, it's kind of a party country. People, you know, it's safer to do it there.
Of course, yeah.
But I would also suggest, if you want to do a big backpacking trip and you're young, maybe it's your gap year, go to Southeast Asia. Start in Thailand, because it eases you in, you know, and it's fucking cheap as shit. Yeah.
Lovely.
Jubbly.
Lovely jubbly, mate. Well, good to have you back on the sort of second wave of podcasts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Season 2, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Season 2. Yay.
Season 2. Yay.
Lovely. All right, signing out. Goodbye. Nice.